There are a lot of Batman stories. Now, everybody talks about The Dark Knight Returns, Long Halloween, Arkham Asylum, Killing Joke. But, like I said, there's a lot of Batman stories. Matter of fact, did you know if you put every Batman comic edge to edge in a line, well, it would be a lot of comics. And there's a lot of brilliant ones that maybe you haven't heard about, and I thought I'd bring those to light in Batman Favorites. Now, this is Batman Favorites 4. And let's get things going. I have this one from, it's a two-parter from 1999, and it's, I think, one of the last Batman crossovers, and it is Batman, Hellboy, Starman. And Dark Horse and Mike Mignola brought Hellboy to team up with not only Batman, but Starman, who at the time was going on that really cool series by James Robinson, who writes this two-parter. And Mike Mignola draws, and there is just some beautiful stuff here, as usual. I mean, is there a boring-looking Mike Mignola book? I don't think so. It all starts with some neo-Nazi cultists kidnapping Jack Knight's the Starman, his father, the original Starman, Ted Knight, and let's see, he's giving a lecture or something about his science, and Batman tries to interrupt, but they still get away with him. And it's just, wow, just the use of color as usual is just awesome. And they have sinister uses for him to bring back a Cthulhu-like beast. And that brings in Hellboy, and they team up. And this is interesting. In part 1, it's Hellboy and Batman, and then in part 2, it's Hellboy and Starman. Starman makes a cameo in this one, Batman makes a cameo in this one. But even with less Batman in the second part, I still recommend the whole book. It is beautiful and fantastic. Loved it. And I have been neglecting the Batman series that was in conjunction with the Bruce Timm 90s series, Batman the Animated Series, which is my fault totally. I should have thought about those. Those were brilliant, and they really, while the Batman series was revolutionizing superhero cartoons and cartoons in general, the usual tacked-on comic book that's supposed to go along and be merchandised was also kind of revolutionary because it was entertaining. It was often written off and on by the series creators, and when it wasn't, it was still entertaining, matching with the kind of storylines that they do. Also, the look was often beautiful. There was a couple different artists who did that book, and when they changed the name to Batman and Robin Adventures on Fox during the last season, they did so here at DC Comics. And this is a two-parter written by Paul Dini and art by Ty Templeton. Two-timer. It's a Two-Face story. And let's see, Templeton's art is just, just matches perfectly with the Bruce Timm style. And essentially, long story short, Two-Face and his fiancée, Grace, are talking again, and Bruce is trying to help them. He thinks that Grace is, the key to bringing him back. Joker gets kind of an eye on what they're doing, and so he hires Harley to make it look like Grace and Bruce are hitting it off and selling pictures to the tabloids. He does this all from his cell. He doesn't leave the cell at all to cause all this commotion. And then, of course, the second part is Two-Face going on a rampage. It's really sad and action-packed and very fun. Loved it. It's Batman and Robin Adventures issues 1 and 2. And here's a Batman Adventures annual. This is from '93, I think. 95, excuse me. Batman Adventures Annual 2. Let's see, written by Paul Dini, and the art is done by, let's see, Glenn Makakami and Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm, I think, did the layouts, and then Glenn finished it up. It's a Ra's al Ghul story, and Ra's is trying to revive this demon so he can do his bidding and stuff like that. You know, typical stuff. And then he brings in, Batman brings in Jason Blood to give him a handout. The coloring is really creative. It's very different than what Tim usually does when he does comic book work. The whole book almost has like this kind of bloody, washed out look. And it also, in Celebration, I think this isn't long after Kirby had died. In Celebration, you know, Kirby's character is the demon. It basically pays tribute almost on every page, especially the second half, to Kirby's work. And look at that. I mean, that's just stunning. I mean, Bruce Timm does an amazing Jack Kirby. And I do think there's some Jack Kirby in his work generally. And very cool. All this takes place in one issue. It's not a huge crossover thing. Batman Adventures Annual #2. And here's a story arc. It has the last couple are 4-part story arcs. This is Alan Grant and Norm Breyfogle, Detective Comics 604, 605, 606, 607. It's called The Mud Pack. And it's a team-up book of the 4, well, actually 3 versions of Clayface. The original Clayface, who actually did not have shape-shifting powers. I can't remember his name. He's Carlos, let's see. I can't remember his name. He's an actor who had gone insane and became a killer. He has a name like you know, a fake horror movie name guy. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. But anyway, he wants to bring the whole team together. The female Clayface, Lady Clayface, and the third guy who was kind of crazy with the Iron Man kind of suit that would melt people. And he wants to bring back Matt Hagen, who was the most well-known. Matt's dead. His clay is just not getting reanimated, unfortunately. And yeah, he wants to get revenge. He wants to take over the town, but he's not telling the other Clayfaces that he's got a ulterior motive. He wants to steal their powers. And of course, this is the excellent Norm Breyfogle doing his artwork. This is a great time for Batman. Norm Breyfogle and Alan Grant just tearing it up in this series. Let's see, and I never really heard of Lady Clayface. She was, I guess, more of an 80s character that just kind of like disappeared. And let's see, it's very cool. And this is also not long after Jason Todd had died. And let's see, there's a scene of her taking Jason's form just to mess him up. Very cool. Issues 604 through 607. I definitely recommend them. And last but not least is Detective Comics 575 through 578. It's called Year 2, and it's the sequel to, of course, Year 1. It didn't really need to be called that, but it takes place in the second year of Batman's career and addresses the fact that he had once carried a gun in the old classic comics. Let's see, it's written by Mike Barr, and the first issue is drawn by Alan Davis, and issues 2 through 4 are drawn by Todd McFarlane. Yes, Mr. McFarlane, back when he was a young, hungry artist doing Batman. And the capes are crazy, as usual. And the first issue that Todd does is kind of more standard, a little closer to Alan Davis, and it is slightly more Tom McFarlane-ish as we go and go and go. And it's one of my favorite covers right there. And there's a lot, okay. The character, the Reaper, who was a vigilante killer before Batman's time 20 years ago, makes a comeback. He is also the father of his possible girlfriend, a girl named Rachel, and he is acting revenge. The mob wants him gone, and he ends up, and it's a long story, he ends up working alongside of Joe Chill to take out the Reaper, the killer of his parents. Crazy story. I highly recommend it. I'm sorry it's been pushed out of continuity right now, but I don't care. I love this a lot. But that's it for now. Push the button, Lindsay.